Hey, well, this is Zacchaeus. Whether not alive, whether the day. Yes, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. And for those who are coming in for the first time, I thank you. And those who have been consistently supporting me, I thank you as well. Yo, today I'm going to talk about NBA boys, the hip hop artists. You call them trap artists. Young boys comment on taking care of children. Despite he has 11 children, he said in a comment that really caught my attention that he's not big on parenthood. Not big on parenthood. Not big on parenthood. That really caught my attention. I just had to share it. And DJ Young Boy is coming up from this generation, trap artists, call them hip hop artists. Yeah, it's all part of hip hop. And look, 2023, we just celebrated 50 years of hip hop. Applaud 50 years of hip hop. 1973, the birth of hip hop, the Bronx, the birth of hip hop, the Bronx, New York. And, NBA Youngboy made that comment. Kind of took me by surprise when I read that comment. And having 11 children is a big deal. It's a big deal because you're gonna want to make sure all your children are taken care of. And for a person to say that parenthood is not a big deal and you have 11 children, man, then sorry, brother, but maybe you missed the memo. But you were supposed to trap it up. You're supposed to put on that condom, man, and make sure you don't have 11 children. But yeah, but those who don't know, NBA Youngboy, hip hop artist, famous, very popular. Um, I'm not really into the music. I heard some songs, but I'm not really into the music. But I'm coming from a different generation. I'm coming from the generation of the 80s and 90s. So you can't go by me. But very popular artists, mainstream artists, and this generation is just different with music. Very different with music. The things they gotta go through just to get on top. Back then it was you sing for somebody, perform, as long as you have the talent, you get on. This generation, you have to have a huge following on social media. You have to have a huge following, and you gotta go through some rituals. You gotta go through some things, some rituals, and some ordeals just so you can stay on top. For example, for example, NBA young boy just painting his nails. I remember the time when I heard he painted his nails. I'm like, man, but he's not the only hip hop artist that painted his nails. Not the only one. Other artists painted their nails too in this generation. And there are some rock artists that paint their nails too. Yeah, in this generation, it's a thing. If you go know the history of it, it's a thing in the past. But these are part of the rituals. Feminizing men. In this generation, they have to wear a dress. You gotta put on makeup. You gotta paint your nails. These are the rituals. These are the rituals that people go through. Yeah, these are the rituals. So, excuse me. So, these are the rituals that you go through as an artist. The sacrifices that you have to make. Remember, in the moment of time, it was a lot of blood sacrifices. When you hear a lot of hip hop artists getting murdered, but still going on, rituals, sacrifices, and I'll never forget this week, Big Daddy Kane, the legendary, iconic, golden era hip hop artist, bought some of his records back in the days. Big Daddy Kane said in a comment during an interview, one of the interviews, his live interviews, because he has a documentary coming out, I believe on Netflix. He said that A lot of the young artists today need guidance. A lot of the young artists today need some direction. They need guidance. Basically, they're lost. Basically, to sum it up, they're lost. And Big Daddy Kane said it the best. They need guidance. And with this documentary, he's gonna portray and he's gonna reflect on that. He has a lot of famous people on the interview. He has another iconic artist, Jay Z, that's gonna be a part of the interview. Got Eminem, MC Light, so forth and so forth. That's gonna be part of that documentary. We'll be part of that documentary, and they can be chopping it up with Big Daddy Kane. Yeah, so a lot of guidance, lot of guidance they need. So when I hear NBA YoungBoy making a comment like, despite having 11 children, saying that he don't want to, he's not big on parenthood. There's people out there that want to have kids and they can't have kids. They wish they could, if they can even have one child. Well, I say this: the older he just bold enough to admit it, NBA YoungBoy. But I say this to y'all, the young men that go around having kids everywhere, but you're not really taking care of them. You're not doing your part as a father to guide them. You're not doing your part as a father to be there for them. You're standing them up every time they have an event. I say this: big up and respect to people that don't have kids, that don't want kids. At least they are bold enough to say, you know what? I don't want kids. I don't want to have kids. At least they say they admit and say that, okay, I don't want to have kids. Respect to them. You know why they get respect? Because they never lay down and had kids. Not only that, they said that they don't want kids. They don't want kids. They said that, and I know some people that don't have kids that's around my age, close to 15, they don't have kids. Nothing wrong with that, but they decided not to have kids because for many reasons. They like the freedom of coming and going as they please. They like the freedom of not being responsible for somebody else. They like the freedom of just being free and not being responsible for somebody else. And respect to them. Don't knock them because they don't want kids. Don't knock them and call them selfish. You're selfish when you have kids and you don't take care of them. That's what selfish is. That's what being self-centered is. If you don't want kids, just don't have kids. Just don't have kids. Basically. Just don't have kids, you know? And, going on to, so check out that documentary. Check out that documentary coming out on Netflix. Big Daddy Kane documentary. Check it out. Check it out. But I had to address that, man. I had to address NBA's comment on I'm not big on parenthood, but despite having 11 children, he actually said he's not big on parenthood. Brother, you need guidance like what Big Daddy Kane says. And we gotta start teaching the young people accountability and responsibility. If you have children, you gotta take care of it. You're responsible for your own actions. We gotta teach them that they're responsible for their own actions. And you're responsible for your own actions. And you have to be held accountable. Yes, you have to be held accountable too as well. You can't tell me that you have 11 children and you should have protected yourself. If you don't want children, you should have protected yourself. Don't tell me and don't tell the world that you have 11 children and you're not big on parenthood. Man, that's crazy. Come on. Oh, yes. So, NBA YoungBoy, man, kids are a blessing. Kids are a blessing, and not everybody can have children. Not every person that wants children can have children. So it's a blessing. So for you just to say that you're not big on parenthood, it's And having 11 kids is a big deal. So I had to address it. And of course, the scripture has there's a scripture for everything under the sun. And of course, kids are a blessing. So the live word of the day is coming out of Psalms 127, verses 3. And it says, "Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb, a reward." My brethren, children are a blessing. Kids are a blessing. So maybe you don't know what you were saying, but kids are a blessing. And you cannot have all those kids. And it's something you shouldn't, if you didn't want those, if you didn't want to, if you're not big on parenthood, you should not have laid down and have all those kids. You should have protected yourself so you won't produce children. Well, this is Zacchaeus with another live word of the day. God bless and be safe out there. Peace and blessings. Got more coming for you. God bless and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, and thanks for tuning in. God bless and be safe out there.